I visited 3 op shops in Strathpine. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. It's the first video of 2022 and I'm so excited to have you back here on my channel. If you are new, consider subscribing. I make fun shop with me videos, plus size fashion hauls, etc. And I also have a project channel which I do sew with me's and other furniture flips and things like that. So if you're interested in subscribing to either of those, then be sure to do that. I have everything linked down in the description. But today is a very exciting day. I'm going op shopping for the first time in a very long time. I have made my way to Strathpine, an area that has been recommended to me for the op shops nearby. Now there is a ton to get through. We've got a Vinnies, a Lifeline right where I am here now, and then there's a few others in the area as well. So I'm going to bring you along and we're going to have a look what goodies there are to be found. First store that I went into was Lifeline Superstore, obviously at Strathpine, and this had some really quaint furniture. They also had 30% off secondhand furniture. It did have a few new items in the store, but we had mostly clothes, some arts and crafts pieces, and some really nice fabrics as well. These were the small offcuts. I didn't quite find anything that had enough length in it in the scrap section, but I did manage to find a really cool thread holder, which I'd actually been trying to get my hands on. So this was just honestly potluck. I don't know how it happened. There was a bunch of really nice baskets and home decor things, really affordable in this store as well. Like most things were $3, $2, very affordable. This was the next fabric section, which had a bunch of great deals. I really loved that woolen blanket, but it had some holes in it and I didn't quite have a vision for what I would do with it. And again, lots of great materials, but nothing that I could quite picture what I would create with it. They had lots of clothes in this store as well, but really nothing in the plus size section that would fit me or that I could tailor. The next store was Vinnies, and this one was the cheapest of all of the stores. So they had all adult clothes for $2 each, and they had also fill a bag of clothing for $6, which was in all of the different types of, not genres, categories like adults, kids, etc. They also had $2 on the wall there, and I actually did manage to find something really nice, which I'll show you at the end of the video, and this was only $2. My favorite bit about this store though is definitely the books. They were all $1 each and there was so many to go through. I ended up standing here for no word of a lie about 30 minutes and I can't wait to show you what I got. And the last store was the Salvos. This was again in Strathpine and it was probably the most expensive of all the stores that I went to today. There was lots of clothes again, some homewares, and how cool was this jumper, PS? It was only a size large though, so I didn't come away with it, but it looked so cute. Lots of accessories, bags, and shoes, and again some books. But honestly, how cute was the homewares? There was so many antique, really unique, if that's the word, that just rhymed, but really great items, and they weren't too expensive either. I nearly walked away with this biscuit jar, but it was $8 and I couldn't quite picture where I'd put it in my kitchen. Oh my god, that spice set, and this little cute set too, that was just so ready. Okay, I am back home now and I visited 3 op shops in the local Strathpine. It's kind of actually Lawnton, the area that we ended up going to. So I ended up coming away with a lot of goodies, most of which were books. So if you're not a book person, then this might not be the haul for you. I myself have never been a book person. I've always really struggled to read. And if you haven't watched my stories on Instagram lately, I've been opening up a little bit more about that journey and why that is and all the rest of those fun things. So I never understood. I just thought that I was someone who just didn't like books and that was just what it was. I just find myself reading chapters and getting to the end of it and not realizing what I've just read. Kind of like when you get to your destination in the car and you're like, how did I just get here? I don't remember driving. And you go off into like this state of zoned outness. That is what happens to me when I read, and it doesn't matter. There's a fly in here. Anyway, long story short, I have come to the realization that I actually think it's an attention span thing for me. I've recently had a lot of revelations around, you know, my attention span and how that relates to me and my personality. So yeah, it's something that I'm trying to challenge myself on more, and I actually read my first book in its entirety in like, I don't know, 3 years. I don't even know how many years since I've read a book in its entirety. And I actually read it over the Christmas period in about less than a week, which for me is a big deal. Like, for me, that's some kind of commitment. And I don't know if this is a hobby that I'm just picking up for the time being or if it's gonna stick, but I absolutely enjoy falling into reading. Anyway, you guys didn't care to hear that backstory, but that is why I've gone all out on the books today, which you'll understand why when I go through in a second. But let's start with the first shop. So we went to, I think it was Lifeline first, and it was a really nice, quaint little store. Not huge. It had a good amount of clothes. Like, I'd say it was majoritively clothes. Some homewares, some materials. I always beeline for like the fabric section and the crafting section. There wasn't a whole lot in there for that area, which really kind of sucked, but that's okay. It is what it is. And I actually stumbled across the crockery section, or like the kitchenware stuff, and I came across these gorgeous cane placemats. Now, a funny story about this. I actually need placemats because my new table that I spent $1,000 on is the worst veneer I've ever seen in my life. Like, it is so crappy in quality that we've just been refusing to sit and eat on it. These cane mats were $5 for what, 8? Yeah, 8. Now, they're not in the best of nick. Some of them definitely could do with some repairing, but you know what? For $5 for 8, I was willing to risk it, considering we only really need to use 4. And like, I mean, you can always fix it up, I suppose, but they just looked really nice. They are a little bit shiny, which is not a problem. It's just is what it is. Next up from that store was a bit of a random purchase. They had a bunch of like new products in there as well, like candles and other things like that, and they had 2 sunglasses stands, and they had these gorgeous, sorry, the tags are in the way, these gorgeous sunglasses for kids, and they have like a little Spider-Man web on them, I'm assuming for Spider-Man. There was 2 for $9, so I grabbed both of those because they are actually UV protected, they are legitimate, but also the kids are obsessed with wearing sunglasses now, and they compete with each other on who gets the certain type of sunglasses, so I got the same but just slightly different color, so I'm sure we're still gonna have arguments about it, but that's fine. Also, another really random, and I feel like this is again putting it out into the universe thing, but this morning I filmed a video for my project channel, which is Project Katie Francis, and it's where I'm going to do all my sew with me, so if you want to go and follow over there, feel free. But I was doing a room tour this morning, and I was saying how I needed a a thread holder. That's literally the only thing that I was saying that I really needed. Look what I came and found in that store. Only a thread holder, $3. Now, don't get me wrong, the outside definitely looks like it's been sun damaged and it's kind of aged a little bit, but it's plastic, and at the end of the day it doesn't matter. It's doing a job, and I'm so freaking excited. This can sit on my desk, which is what I really needed, because unfortunately the peg board that IKEA has doesn't quite fit any of those hanging ones. I'm sure I could make one fit, but they're really expensive online, I will say. So for $3 to get this, I was absolutely stoked with that. And then the last thing I got from the first store was a couple of little gems. Now, I absolutely love gems. It's something that I've recently gotten into over the past year or two, and manifesting and journaling and all of those kind of things. So I am very interested to get more and collect more as I go. They were $1.50 for any of the gems that they had there. And they are wellness stones, they called them, but they are actually different types of gems. So we've got the Dragon Eye, which is this one. I don't know if it's going to let you focus on it. So you can see there's beautiful lines in it. We've got the dark side there, and then you've got the light that side. I just absolutely am obsessed with the colouring in that. And the Tiger Eye is like wisdom. And then we also have the, which one was it? Dragon Blood. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on camera very well, but it's kind of like a grey green. There you go. My awful nails. This beautiful green, grey, black. I just am obsessed with it, absolutely obsessed with it. And I can tell they're real because they're cold to touch, but I also can tell they're real anyway. So the Dragon Blood is for creativity, and this is the year of creativity for me. So the next store was really great for clothes, really discounted for clothes. So it was $2 for the clothes and then dollar books, which I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. So I did end up finding, surprisingly, because I check the plus size section every time I go up shopping, and I don't care what anyone tells me, there is nothing in the plus size sections. And when I say that, I truly mean it. I've been to many op shops in my time, and the only things that I can find are those like stretch elasticated pants and like really oversized nighty gowns. Like, I'm telling you, there is nothing. And unfortunately, plus size women don't really have the luxury of finding vintage items because vintage didn't really exist in plus size back then. So yeah, that's why I don't overly love shopping for plus size clothes. When I go up shopping, I still look every time, don't get me wrong, but I often come away feeling quite deflated by it. But in this store, I did find one, and it's a good old Kmart piece. I'm surprised I never saw this myself in Kmart. It's this beautiful, I don't know if it's actually linen. It feels like maybe a cotton linen blend, or maybe just cotton. Okay, so it's 55% linen and 45% viscose. And it's in a size 20, so I'm hoping that it's gonna fit me. They didn't have a try on room, or if they did, I didn't see one there. This beautiful kind of tortoise shell clasp thing, hoop. But it's this beautiful wrap skirt, and I'm obsessed with it. It's like this nice taupe color, really nice, and I'm thinking it could go nice with like a white basic top, or even a crop top, or a knit jumper crop. Any of those combinations would be absolutely stunning. So yeah, I was definitely willing to take the risk for $2. I mean, $2, you know. You know. There was one other dress I found in the last store, but it was $7.50, and it could have looked cute with some altering. It was like a blue dress with like little white daisies on it, but there was no try on room, and I wasn't gonna gamble it not fitting my body without trying it on. So I didn't want to risk it for $7.50. It wouldn't have been the end of the world if I'd have bought it, but it's just such a waste when someone else could get use out of it if I wasn't gonna 100% get use out of it, if you know what I mean. And then we're on to the books. Last but certainly not least. So the second store that was the dollar books, I ended up getting 3 different books from. The first one that I spotted was Pirouette by Robin Bavati. I think it's how you say it, Bavati. Have a look at that gorgeous cover. Now, I'll just read you the blurb on each of them in case you're interested and want to look them up on Goodreads or want to add them to your reading list. But yeah, here we go. Adopted as babies by 2 different families, Simone and Hannah have never known they are identical twins. Simone has been raised as a dancer, but she hates performing. Hannah loves nothing more than dance, but her parents see it as just a hobby. When the 2 girls pirouette into each other's lives, they decide to swap places and make their dreams come true. How freaking sick does that sound? Now, as I was going through, now there was honestly so many books in there. I could have spent hours looking, but I had my Goodreads app up and was actually looking them up as I was finding these books to see if they were rated highly, because I really need a good read to get my juices flowing, to keep me consistent with reading. Because if I find a book that I dive into and it's not going to be engaging, then I'm just not going to want to keep striving to read. So I'm trying to make conscious choices to pick books that have a good rating. This one was rated relatively well. I find that a lot of books on Goodreads all tend to be around that 3, mid to 3 mark, but I think from memory this was around the 4 stars. I can't quite remember. But I'm excited to read that. If you've read any of these ones that I'm going to tell you, please let me know what your thoughts are, because I'm really, really excited. But don't give away any spoilers. No spoilers. And the second one I came across was Sarah Crossan Moonrise. This looked so aesthetic. I was like, okay, first of all, drawn to the cover. I tend to be pretty, what's the word? Read a book by its cover, literally. I'll read you the blurb and then we can talk about it. So they think I hurt someone, but I didn't. You hear? Because people are gonna be telling you all kinds of lies. I need you to know the truth. Joe hasn't seen his brother for 10 years and it's the most brutal of reasons. Ed is on death row. But now Ed's execution date has been set and this might be the last summer they have together. So I really was drawn to that, and I think again it was rated quite well. And I don't even think that book has ever been read, because literally the edge has not ever even moved. Like, it's seamless. The last book is super random. I don't know how much I'm going to get from it, but for $1 I was willing to take the risk. It's called Raising Resilient Children, and I don't know about any other parent. I'm sure many other parents feel the same way, but I'm constantly questioning whether I'm doing the right thing with my kids and if there's anything that I could be improving on. And I just love self-help books. So, well, self-help things like documentaries, shows, anything like that. So when I found this, I was like, it's worth giving it a go. It might just be a laugh, it might be a load of bollocks, but hey, it's apparently written by a doctor with a PhD, so we'll see. We will see. And then the last store I ended up only picking up books from an author that I had been recommended to read quite a fair bit, was Jodi Picoult. I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy her books at all, but she seems to be a pretty popular author, and when I was looking her up on Goodreads, she had a lot of books. So I'm going to assume and presume that she must appeal to a certain type of audience, at least anyway, and I may be one of them, and the only way I'm going to learn is if I read her books, and if I get engaged, then I get engaged, and if I don't, then I don't. But this particular store had so many Jodi Picoult books, like almost her whole collection, I would say, and I was reading on Goodreads her different books that were rated well, and there was a series of 3 called, I can't remember exactly what the series was called, but the book names are The 10th Circle, 19 Minutes, and Vanishing Acts. So apparently these 3 are a set, and they happen to all be sitting right next to each other, which I don't think was a coincidence. There was a bunch of others, like I said, but I decided to go these 3. They were $3 each, and I'm really excited. I think there's a particular order that I need to read them in, and I don't think I'll read the blurb on this video, because I think this is one of those ones that most people will probably know, and I'm just really naive to book reading, so it might seem a little bit silly that I read that out. 2 of the books have been read, 1 have not. The middle one has not been read, and I'm really excited. So yeah, they were $3 each, so $9 for 3 books. I thought was really awesome. But yeah, that's everything that I got from my op shop haul today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're new to my channel, and let me know as well if you want me to go find some other new op shops around my area. And I'll see you guys really soon for another video on my channel. Bye!